What's up, my peeps? This is Green Fox. Chiming in? Turning in? Turning on? No, we're not using that. But this is my first reaction video. I have been watching Rooster Teeth's Death Battle for quite a while now, and I've been wanting to get into the game of YouTubing for... YouTubing? Vlogging? What is it called now? Whatever. So, I've been getting into it, and I figured I might as well start with something I like. Obviously, I'm going to be watching a lot of stuff I like, but something I always like to watch is Death Battle. I always like the idea of putting two different genres, or two different themes, or two different characters that would never talk to each other, never see each other, and pretty much treating them like a little kid plays with two action figures that don't mesh at all, but then just throwing them together and making them fight. So, that's what we're going to do. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the like button, in order to help me with the algorithm, and let's get right to it.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Netflix's One Piece and Shady Rays.
That's cool. Rooster Teeth has a new logo I haven't seen yet. I'm used to the old one, back when it was red versus blue. Yeah.
Martian Manhunter, DC's Space Ranger.
The Silver Surfer, Marvel's Sentinel of the Spaceways.
The depths of space hold secrets beyond our comprehension, but these sage superheroes have seen more of it than any of us could ever hope to.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
Okay. Before we get into Wiz and Boomstick, because I love them to death, let's start with some baseline. I know Martian Manhunter very well. I grew up watching the old DC animated series, and when Justice League aired on, and the first episode of Justice League came on, where it was the introduction of Martian Manhunter, I loved it. I thought he was a great character. I thought he had a great backstory. I always found it odd that Mars had a civilization that Earth was just unaware of, because it's that close, but whatever, it's comic book knowledge. Silver Surfer I knew of for two reasons. One, my dad was a big Fantastic Four fan. I actually have a big collector's edition of Fantastic Four comic books. But I saw Silver Surfer with the Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. That movie is its own train wreck. Sure, let's use that. And so I didn't really know much about him. I just know that he's really powerful, like ridiculously powerful. So already I'm just predicting Silver Surfer is going to wipe the floor with Manhunter. I like Jean. I do. I like the Manhunter, but it just doesn't make any sense. You're talking about the Surfer that can literally take on Galactus, the World Eater, versus a guy who is weak against fire. That's not a joke. Martian Manhunter is literally weak against flames. Like extra flamboyant. No, but flammable, yes. Alright, let's see what they got.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. For as long as mankind has looked upon the night sky, the stars have beckoned the brave to search the unknown and explore its endless wonders.
Like Dr. Saul Erdell, who's kind of a doctor in the same way Dr. Pepper is a doctor. This guy's got no formal education, but that didn't stop him from messing around with some ancient tech he stumbled upon.
He was desperate to live out his boyhood dreams of exploring the cosmos. So with the tech's advanced capabilities, Erdell created a machine that would bring the cosmos to him.
He pointed the machine at Mars, pushed a button, and hoped for the best. And it worked! Erdell summoned a real-life Martian right before his very eyes. So remember, kids, when in doubt, just push buttons. Never fails.
The mysterious...
Nice use of Dexter's Laboratory right there. That's fantastic. I did not know that was his origin story. Maybe it's not. It's a little too early, but I just remember it from the Justice League show.
and powerful alien known as J'onn J'onzz, the Martian Manhunter, immediately started using his incredible powers in front of the Doctor, like mind reading and shape-shifting.
Which was just the tip of Erdell's discoveries. Turns out, Martians have complete control over their bodies and can transform into practically anything, like a freaking dragon, an exact duplicate of Wonder Woman down to her central nervous system, or even a totally generic green monster that loves Choco cookies.
They can also shoot lasers from their eyes, fire psionic blasts, turn invisible, and phase through anything, even Green Lantern constructs and force fields that Superman couldn't get through.
On top of all that, they've got a crazy healing factor. John has regenerated back from a single limb, tiny pieces, or even a puddle of goo.
This display of awe-inspiring power.
That reminds me of the regenerative powers of what was his name? Jackie Estacado from The Darkness. Really good indie, not really indie, but comic book series you guys should check out. Not for the faint of heart. It's a very dark comic, hence the name Darkness, but that's for a different time.
Overwhelmed Dr. Erdell's poor human heart and caused him to die in the Martian's arms.
Damn! Well, at least he accomplished his goal before he bit the red dust, right? Anyway, John used his shape-shifting abilities to hide amongst his new world by assuming the identity of a recently deceased detective named John Jones. God, what a crazy coincidence, comic book writer, you clever man.
Detective John Jones lived a double life on Earth for many years, solving cases and helping as many people as he could from the shadows. But eventually, he stepped out, revealing himself to the world, and helped found the Justice League of America.
And John definitely...
I do remember he was a founding member.
He holds his own in the supergroup. He once pulled the Earth alongside Wonder Woman and Superman, who has stated that of all the beings in the known universe, he would be afraid to fight John.
And he should be afraid. Superman wouldn't be the first Kryptonian John has gone toe-to-toe with. He's manhandled Ultraman, who's basically evil Superman from another universe, and Superboy Prime, who can shatter reality with his punches, and is also evil Superman from another universe.
He took a blast from Asmodel, the king angel from a literal army of heaven. He's held his own against...
But, okay, this is getting kind of ridiculous. There's no way that comic book writers, come on, like, there's no way just a simple Martian has that much power. It makes no sense whatsoever. But it's comic books. You gotta make your hero more powerful.
Against Darkseid, the manifestation of tyranny in the DC universe. And he's fast enough to catch up to Supergirl and Superman, who we know flies so fast he can burst the bonds of infinity. So basically, he's just as strong and just as fast as a bunch of crazy gods and demons.
While Jean's strength and speed are obviously very impressive, it's also no secret that his greatest asset is his mind. He's one of the most powerful telepaths in all of the DC universe.
He reads minds, duh, but he can also shut them down
Wait,
altogether.
what was that?
DCU.
Ha ha ha. Well, I can't wait. If I've been saying, oh god, what have I done? I am telepathically ordering the information reaching his brain. I'm making him sane, but I cannot hold it for long. His mind is like a storm raging. Wow, I would love to see that. That is really cool.
Universe.
He reads minds, duh, but he can also shut them down altogether. And he once made Mr. Plexiglass, Mr. Mixed Pickles, fuck your name, that's whatever.
Oh, I love Boomstick.
To subconsciously say his own name backwards, which God only knows because I can't say it forwards, which canceled out his powers.
His psychic defenses were strong enough to protect the Justice League against a worldwide telepathic attack. And his ability to sense people's feelings is so strong, he can feel every sentient being in the entire galaxy.
And he once out-thought Perpetua from the Omniverse. Who's that, you ask? Oh, just a freaking creator of the entire multiverse. She's basically the god of everything.
Jean needed to connect his consciousness with everyone on Earth before Perpetua could catch up. He pulled this off by using his mental abilities within the span of Planck time, literally the smallest possible measurement of time. In the time it takes you to count to 1, Jean could count to 1 and fly across the universe and back over 200 sextillion times.
I didn't know the details of that, but that is not the first time I've heard of Planck time. Gotta flex a little bit on my intellect.
Thought God. He's a faster thinker than God. And it didn't end there. John took a punch from her and walked away with just a bloody nose. And when she disintegrated him into basically nothing, he regenerated back.
From a cell.
From a hit from God.
Batman has said that in order to kill Jean for good, you would have to literally destroy every single atom in his body, one by one.
God damn. If I didn't love alliteration so much, I'd say we change this guy's name to Martian God Hunter or something. He's basically invincible, right?
Not quite. Jean is not without weakness. He has a very real vulnerability to fire. At times, it has completely overwhelmed him to the point where he loses control of his body.
And
Wow.
not just literal fire either. Jean was once tricked into just thinking he was surrounded by fire, and that was enough for him.
Even still, Jean has been able to overcome this weakness. He's fought enemies with fire.
I do kind of like that it is a psychological thing too. It's like almost like a phobia where he can't control the combustion nature of his own atoms.
Abilities and even taken hits from fire attacks, which leads me to believe the weakness, while potent and still able to cause real physical harm,
Right.
is mainly psychosomatic. What are you doing?
I heard what you said. Weakness to fire is just in your head. I'll be a living god! Another win in the mind column for sure. And to think there's a whole planet of the...
Not his weakness with fire was physical or mental, but recent issues have made it clear that it is physical. Likewise, John is trained to conquer the weakness, though he could still be incapacitated by large flames. That makes sense. I mean, fire is still fire. It's still the combustion nature. It's still, you know, things igniting and a massive amount of heat and causing things to degrade and combust. Either way, that's going to do damage. It's like saying a laser does nothing. It clearly does. It's photonic energy. It's actual energy, so energy just bouncing off of you. I mean, even Superman could take a punch, but bullets bounce off of him, so... This is where they're really good at figuring out logic out of comic book logic, and that is a spiral of insanity that I just don't go down sometimes. I try to, but it doesn't always work out.
These guys out there.
Unfortunately, that's no longer the case. Before Dr. Erdel's strange experiment, Jean's own brother used the Martians' telepathic connection to each other against them, and the entire planet was plagued with Ronmir's curse.
As long as they stayed telepathically connected, every Martian was vulnerable to a mental fire that would overwhelm them and burn them from the inside out.
Which sadly worked very well, because the fear of fire is something Jean shares with his fellow Martians. Centuries earlier, the Guardians of the Universe, a group of immortal aliens who run the Green Lantern Corps, feared that the Martian race could become too strong. So they programmed the Martians with that genetic weakness to fire.
Jean was able to...
Whoa, hold on. The Guardians who control the Green Lanterns committed genocide because they were scared that they were going to get too strong? How is that not talked about more?
survive the fiery curse by cutting off his mental connection to his people, including his family. Unfortunately, his wife, Myria, and their daughter couldn't live with the isolation, and he had no choice but to watch them give in and burn alive.
Wow.
Damn.
Racked with grief and survivor's guilt, Jean was left to wander his homeworld all alone. His only solace being shape-shifting into his lost loved ones to convince himself they were still alive.
Oh my god! Jesus, John! That is so sad!
That pain has undoubtedly shaped who Jean is. In fact, the trauma he held onto so tightly formed a literal spiritual connection with those lost souls. A telepathic connection so strong, it kept them from finding peace in an afterlife. Let me say that again. His grief and telepathy were so strong, he prevented an entire race of people from moving on to the afterlife.
It wasn't until years later that John could return to Mars and
I now take back everything that's said about Silver for wiping the floor with this guy.
release those souls by finally letting go. And not to forget them, but to embrace his new life and his new home. A place he would defend time and time again to make sure the Earth never suffers a fate similar to Mars.
To experience all of that, to truly know what it feels like to be alone in the vast universe, but continue to use your wisdom and power to help those in need, is what makes the Martian Manhunter such a noble hero.
On a planet packed with other incredible heroes, John really has set himself apart. He's risen through the ashes and emerged, the heart and soul of the Justice League.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by One Piece on Netflix.
Oh no.
Made by fans for fans, this live-action adaptation of the beloved manga is designed to introduce new audiences to the zany pirate epic. And where else would it start but the East Blue, a world populated by pirates with supernatural powers gifted by mysterious devil fruits, where telephones are snails.
And a treasure hidden by the late Goldie Roger kicks off an era of epic adventure.
This action-packed series follows the Straw Hat Pirates, a crew of true Nakama determined to fight find the legendary One Piece and live free on the high seas.
All the while being chased by the honorable Marines, protecting the waterways from those dastardly pirates.
In an ocean of grim and gritty adaptations, One Piece is an adventurous, warm-hearted, binge-worthy island.
Series mangaka Eiichiro Oda was involved at every step of the process, which has never been done before in any
Oh.
other live-action manga adaptation.
Pirates life for me! Marines stink!
Watch One Piece August 31st, only on Netflix.
Okay, cool. I was gonna skip the ad, but that actually makes sense. I didn't know that a creator had not been behind a live action anime before. That was a first. I myself am not that big into anime. I have done the bare minimum. When I was younger, I watched a lot. I watched Yu Yu Hakusho and all that. But in modern anime, I just don't have the time for it, really, if I'm being blunt. And I never got into One Piece. I think I saw clips, but its art style threw me off. Not that it's bad, it's just I kind of got used to the sharp edges of certain animes and the edginess of it. It looked too lighthearted, and that's obviously me, judging a book by its cover. Guilty as charged. But I don't know. That actually looks okay. Unfortunately, I don't have Netflix anymore, so.
Zen La, a virtual utopia, free from any and all crime, poverty, and disease.
And home to Norin Rad, which I've gotta say is the sickest, most radical name I have ever heard in my entire life. He was a brainy kid who was raised to live a life of reason and intellect over one of gnarly adventure.
That is, until the technologically advanced society came under threat from the Devourer of Worlds, Galactus.
Yep.
So Norin struck up a deal with the World Muncher. In exchange for sparing his planet, Mr. Red offered to leave his home behind, become Galactus's herald, and seek out new planets for him to scarf down.
And once Galactus agreed to the deal, he imbued his new herald with the power cosmic, transforming him into the Silver Surfer.
An equally tubular name. 2 for 2. Wow, you rarely see it.
The power cosmic
That is true. You really do see the names being that badass.
grants the Surfer near unlimited energy, as well as matter manipulation.
Why is it seeing the Wizard of Oz 1,000 times part of your... I give up.
Phasing, super strength, speed, and invulnerability, just to name a few.
The Surfers basically got all of Galactus' space magic, just on a smaller scale, and Galactus uses that power to fight.
Being the first Herald, the Silver Surfer has a wider range of abilities than the Herald that came after. Oh, that's cool.
Guys like the In-Betweener, an abstract being from the overspace.
The Surfer used the power cosmic to serve Galactus diligently for nearly 100 years, during which he ensured that the planets consumed were devoid of sentient life.
That is, until the Surfer accidentally offered up a planet with life, which drove him crazy with guilt. So Galactus tried his best to suppress the Surfer's emotions, erase the painful memories, and make it easier for him to find planets with tasty, delicious life, guilt-free. How nice of him.
And
Nice
it
anime.
worked for a while until the Surfer reached Earth. Galactus'
Of
mighty
course.
mind manipulation wasn't
Because, we're just so awesome. Of course, we can fight off that.
enough to bury the Surfer's true nature for good. With the help of Alicia Masters and the Fantastic Four, the Surfer turned against his overlord and saved the Earth from being eaten.
But even after all that, Galactus just let the Surfer keep his powers. At any point, he could have just taken them back.
Being the source of the Surfer's powers, yes, he could. But Galactus has continued to let the Surfer have the power cosmic out of respect for his first herald.
Damn. See, that's the kind of respect I'm asking from you. Anyway, ever since those mental gymnastics with Galactus, the Surfer made sure nothing like that would ever happen again.
And he's been successful, like when Psycho Man failed to trick the Surfer with his illusions, or when he was briefly trapped in the Supreme Intelligence's mind when it was using the Mind Stone.
With some of those mental threats behind him, he could finally take...
So he fought off the Mind Stone. That's impressive. That's really impressive. Also, I like the fact that they're even though Galactus is just eating planets, whatever. He's also like, you were a really good first employee, and I really respect you. So you know what? You get to keep the suit. Keep all the perks. I could take it back, but you're kind of cool. I kind of bonded with you. Have a good one. And just dips and just okay. Just continue committing mass galactic genocide by consuming worlds. Though can't hate him too much. Galactus literally just is hungry. He's just a hungry boy. Unlike Thanos that just wants to snap everyone to death because he wants to boink death. Makes you wonder who the real villain is. Mostly death.
To the spaceways, kick ass, and monologue about the meaning of life in the universe.
All of which he's quite good at, especially that last one. It's thanks to the abilities afforded to him through all that cosmic energy.
It's seriously crazy. He can rearrange the molecules of anything he wants into anything he wants. He can force you to just feel pain in general, and he can even control elements. Not just earth, wind, and fire, but anything in a boogie wonderland like gravity and the weather.
He's got enough power and energy inside him that he once created an infant star to serve as a new light source in a universe devoid of light.
So just when he needed it, he was able to pop out a baby son? That's convenient.
That's the power cosmic.
But
Wow,
we
that's
can't
actually
forget about the sick board he shreds the stars with. This thing's basically an extension of himself. He can transform it into a sweet sword or into pure cosmic energy. And if it breaks, he can just form a new one.
On his board, the Surfer has traveled at incalculable speeds on multiple occasions. He can fly faster than Thor, and even once flew so fast he reached the future.
Even without his board, he once broke free from energy shackles that would zap away his power within the next nanosecond. Gnarly, brah. He once outsurfed a wave of universal destruction. He had to surf out of all of existence as it was being torn apart. Now, I've seen some choice waves in my day, but if you ask me, that's one too best for watching on the beach with a brew.
You're, hitting it real hard with all this surfing lingo. He's honestly not that kind of guy at all.
Righteously disagree with you, dude. You are carving up my brainwaves into an A-frame swell that I just can't bail. I'm waxed, man, waxed.
The Silver Surfer is a
Oh, that. There are two ways to hurt my brain: is to give me too much information and to say something so brain dead it just kind of. I hear crickets. Anyway.
tragic figure who is always weighing his choices through every angle of morality. Like when he set out to destroy the new host of the Star Brand, an energy source that grants his wielders virtually infinite power, capable of wiping out all life on Earth.
The Star Brand seems to choose a new unknowing host at random. Could be a good guy, could be the most evil person to ever exist. But despite that threat, the Surfer spared the new Star Brand once he found out she was carrying a child.
He decided to bear the weight of any potential consequences on his own shoulders, instead of squashing any and all hope that the child would use that power for good.
I get it. He's a righteous dude on a surfboard.
Exactly. And in the Surfer's case, a keen sense of morality also comes with a keen sense of his surroundings in general. He can see enemies even when they're invisible, and can sense incoming threats, to the point where he can sense someone approaching even before they've left their own home.
He can also absorb it.
That doesn't even make any sense. They're pretty much saying he's so sensitive he essentially has foresight.
Energy his opponents throw at him. Anything from psionic energy to a freaking star. The Surfer can even do it when he's on death's door. Hey, Wiz, what do you think the doormat on death's door says? Probably like, knock 'em dead, right?
What are you talking? Now, it does take a lot to get the Surfer to death's door. He's taken
Wait, hold on, what was that?
What are you talking? Now, it does take a lot to get the Surfer to death.
Is Jean Grey please use the back entrance? That's terrible.
Death's door. He's taken a blast from the Infinity Stones, survived being smashed into pieces, crashed into the Big Bang, and played catch with the star.
He caught it and then threw it right back at that punk Deadpool. Ha! I hope you like a big ball of gas in your face, you tool.
Reed Richards, the smartest man alive, has said that the Surfer is probably the most powerful being in all the galaxy.
And even after years spent drifting through the galaxy, he's still built strong bonds, like with the Fantastic Four, the Defenders, and with people like Dawn Greenwood.
But somehow, he always ends up alone in space, searching for answers, searching for beings that need his help, searching for something that could replace the home that he lost all those years ago.
But you didn't lose the home. You can go back. They never covered that. The home is fine. From what I gathered. Unless I'm missing something.
Only to be weighed down by the guilt of his servitude and the pain of his sacrifice, which was ultimately done in vain. Cause it doesn't seem to matter what the Surfer does. Zenla is destined for destruction. At this point, his home world has been destroyed 4 times over.
Despite it all, this tragic hero still manages to take everything in stride as he surfs the stars and fights tirelessly to preserve every being's right to live.
I dig it. I dig it.
This episode is sponsored
That
by
being said,
Shady Ray.
Silver
Something
Surfers.
giving you
I
trouble
don't
this
know.
season?
That's
Take it on with gear built to last. Shady Ray's premium polarized shades are perfect for the warm weather and available at an affordable price.
Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world
Outdoor
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit.
community
There we
patient
go. Okay.
exclusive
Yep. Okay. Yep. That. Okay.
It's
So. I don't know. This is a hard one. That's what she said. I'm gonna go with. Man, after all that, still, I still think. I think how they described Martian the Manhunter going up against gods, and how he can pretty much take care and regenerate off of a single cell. But that would take time. But they said Surfer almost has no weakness. So I'm going to go with Surfer again. It's still too cosmic of power, and Martian is still... He's super really good at psychic powers, and that's where he's got the advantage, and just raw combat abilities. But Surfer has durability and speed.
time for a death battle!
Wait, what are we doing? This like
All of my journeys, I have never seen anything quite like this.
I assumed your journeys would have made you rather familiar with places like this, Nordenrad. Or should I say, Silver Surfer? Now, tell me why you have summoned me here.
Enough!
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love this old school. This is like late 1950s film noir, which fits because the Martian Manhunter was a private. Was he private eye or detective? I already forgot. I think he was a detective. Oh, now we go to color.
Where are you hiding? Tell me your secrets.
I must end this.
Oh, that is straining on my eyes.
There's no use in hiding. I can feel your presence.
That's cool.
Nothing can best Martian might.
Your will is admirable, but will alone is not enough. Feel the pain.
You and I possess the same knowledge.
That only one of us can survive, and we know not why.
I hope you can live with the uncertainty.
Victory Victory comes with no certain satisfaction. I may never know why we were made to fight, if violence is ever truly justified. But perhaps there is something worthy in the battle.
Myria.
Something beyond my understanding.
Ooh. Okay. Round of applause, because they've done some high-end productions, but that was probably the most touching and like story-built death battle I've ever seen. That was amazing. That was awesome. That I recommend everyone watching. That was fantastic.
KO! Wiz, what the hell are we doing? Why are we forcing such beautiful souls to fight to the death?
Both the Silver Surfer and the Martian Manhunter were two extraordinarily powerful beings, each with very wide power sets.
So they both had counters for almost everything they could throw at each other. They could both phase through objects, rearrange molecules.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at this. Martian Manhunter. Yeah, no real way to permanently kill Surfer. That's true. Yeah. I kind of figured Surfer was just way more powerful.
And regenerate their own bodies.
But arguably the biggest thing on the Martian Manhunter's side was his formidable telepathy. The Surfer has had his memories erased and his emotions manipulated by Galactus. So it would stand to reason that Jean could pose a mental threat to the Surfer.
But the Surfer has resisted mental attacks many times. When Psycho Man played on the Surfer's guilt and pretended to be his lost love, the Surfer saw right through it. And he escaped the Supreme Intelligence's mind when it was using the frickin' Mind Stone.
These two could have gone toe-to-toe around the universe for a long time. But when it came down to it, the question was, who had the power to put the other down for good?
They both have some serious healing factors and have come back from basically nothing. But if ending Martian Manhunter meant destroying his every atom one by one, the Surfer has the means to make that happen thanks to the seemingly endless well of energy that is the power cosmic.
It's truly an overwhelming source of unlimited power.
Not even Rogue could take that much power. That is a good image. That is awesome.
And outside of Galactus stripping the power away from him, the Surfer is never without it.
It's like a battery. Even if Jean could drain all of the cosmic energy, the Surfer can just recharge it. And he's used that power to destroy planets, defeat Galactus-level threats, and can basically accomplish anything with it.
While both of these philosophic heroes tend to hold back out of a respect for life, there's obviously no holding back here. And the depth of Silver Surfer's abilities gave him the win.
This Martian was harsh in his mellow, so the Surfer had to wave goodbye. Bodacious, cowabunga, hang 10 Ninja Turtles.
The winner is the Silver Surfer.
Ugh, the artwork in the comics is so much better than the 3D adaptation of the movie. That hurts. That hurts my soul.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We have a new death battle releasing every 2 weeks this year.
Thanks for doing that.
And click the join button to get...
Oh, my bad, guys. Alright. Well, that was my first recording. And I had a blast doing it. I'll have to go back through the footage and make sure that's all good. I obviously had to use this old overlay that doesn't really fit well. If you can't notice, there's a section that looks like it's supposed to be for chat. It's because this is for streaming. I always have a hard time getting started. And I actually have a huge amount of confidence issues. And I don't know, just decided to wing it. So here I am, winging it. Anyhow, you peeps take it easy. Can't wait to see you next time. Green Fox out.